Hello, greetings. Um, let's do this. We're going to be diving into Sounds Like a Voice, SLAV, Slav, as it's been referred to, as we've been building the song up to release. Um, so much. I love this song so much. It is a real expression of my thoughts and feelings on the last 2 years, like as far as my life goes. This is kind of our reintroduction after a 2 year sort of break hiatus from doing anything Adamic related. And I remember when we heard this demo the first time, after, I don't know, we played it for the first time like in 2019, like January 3rd, I think, is when we actually recorded the music for it. Like we get together, we jam. If we think something's good, we record it on the phone and move on and leave it alone. So when we were getting back together and picking songs for release, we ended up choosing this one. I brought it to Josiah's attention. I said, this song would be perfect as a single. And he agreed. And so I had already written lyrics to this. The original demo name was Sounds Like a Voice, based off of, there was something happening with the guitar resonating in the room, perhaps with some of my cymbals or something like that. And he said, like, it sounds like a voice. You hear that? It sounds like a voice. So I was like, okay, we're going to call the demo Sounds Like a Voice. And I ended up, if I think a demo title is good enough, I will try to include it in a song. So I ended up using that line as the chorus, and we left that as the title. So what is it that sounds like a voice, right? So we're going to take a few lines at a time from the verse. So Genesis of endings, 19 is born. 2019 was what I will call the worst year of my life. I had a terrible moment happen to me early on in that year. Kind of out of the wild blue, really put me on my back foot. And it was the beginning of 3 other major endings that happened that year. So Genesis of endings, 19 is born. So when 2019 started, there was all these endings happening in my life. Sick of love and heart forlorn. That thing that happened at the beginning of 2019 was a divorce that I did not see coming at all. And it kind of set the tone for the year, whether or not I wanted it to or not. It was one of them things. It just happened. Sick of love and heart forlorn, and that's the exact feeling. Like you get through something like that, and you're just like, I'm just sick of this. My heart is torn up 50 different ways, and I'm sick of it. So 19 is born. So what 19 also means a couple things to me. So I'm a huge Stephen King fan, Dark Tower fan. So 19, the number, is a huge number in that story. King starts weaving it into kind of the story itself, and it becomes basically a sign that the characters are on the right path when they encounter the number 19. That's how they know that what they're doing is not an accident. It's like a fate type thing. So, oh man, there's a lot to this 19 that I'm remembering as I'm saying this even. First time I ever read that entire series, 2012, right? So 7 years later, in 2019, I read it again. When I landed from my divorce, when I found a new place to live, I threw myself into reading those books. It was kind of my escape, trying to distract my mind from just unending torment, So I landed on the Dark Tower series, oddly enough, 7 years later. So when I was speaking about endings earlier, 3 endings happened that year that all started 7 years prior. They had their beginnings 7 years prior in 2012. I started at Walmart in 2012. We started Adamic at the end of 2012. And then I was going to a church. I started going to a church 2012. So 2019 rolls around. all three of those things came to an end in one way or another. I ended up leaving that church. I left Walmart for a period of time. And Josiah and I took a break from Adamic. We thought it was the end of Adamic, really. Everything, 7 years, that you hear that thrown around in Christian circles as this perfect number, the number of perfection. And so it leads me to the next line: striding forth, harbinger of 7. So 19 reigns obscuring heaven. 19 became this number that I started seeing everywhere. I was seeing it in the Dark Tower series I was reading. I was seeing it whenever time I would look at a clock, I would see it. I would see it on my odometer. I would see it in the most random places. I would see it written on boxes at work as I walked by. And, like some people say, you're only seeing it because you're looking for it. And, that may be true, but it was getting eerie, the amount of times I was seeing it. I was encountering it everywhere I went. So 19 became this sign to me, that no matter how awful this year was, no matter how awful things are right now, like, you're where you're supposed to be. And it is a tormenting process at times while you're walking through this, but it is where you're supposed to be. And that's not fun, but there's also a reassuring in that, for me. I feel like God speaks to me in odd ways sometimes, and that is one of the ways he spoke to me that year. How odd, in all these numbers coming to pass, 2012, 7 years, 2019, I'm reading 19 in the Dark Tower. I was 19 in 2012 when I read the Dark Tower for the first time. Just insane. All the 19s. So 19 reigns obscuring heaven. So yeah, that's me expressing, just feeling helpless to this force, these endings in my life, whether or not I had a hand in them, obscuring heaven. And I mean, really, like, that's a fancy way to say, I had trouble seeing God in the midst of it. So let's go to the chorus. Sign of the times I cannot defend. It sounds like a voice saying love till the end. So, already talked about, sign as being a sign to me. So it sounds like a voice, saying love till the end. Love to the end was something I felt, kind of rise up out of my heart during all of those things, no matter what. When I was going through my divorce, like when I would pray, the only thing I would hear and feel was, no matter what, you have to love until the end. You have to do what is right as far as your end of this deal, and love until the end. So, that's not fun when you just want to implode. When I was, when Adamic was coming to an end, when I was leaving that church, when I was leaving this, there was no time, there was no room to give in to negative emotions and just, be a monster about things to people. There's no need, it was, I had to set all that aside and love until the end. So, sign of the times I cannot defend. I'm reading it over here because I don't want to trust my brain to remember all of it. It sounds like a voice saying love until the end. And then of me. I forgot that's tagged on at the end of the chorus. So, yeah, I made an effort. I didn't always nail it, but I made an effort to love until the end of myself. In all these situations, towards others. There was a point where I thought I was going to, move away and start a new job and just basically work myself into the ground. And the whole time I was waiting for that to happen, I had the job lined up. I was already in, it was just a matter of waiting on orientation. And I just felt like love until the end, spend all the time you can with these people around here, go to lunch with them, be good to them. And yeah, that's the sentiment, right? So second verse, hit me 21, it's over and done. So this is one of them lines that ends up being eerily prophetic. So I say hit me 21, obviously Blackjack hit me. but also the 3/7s coming to an end. Walmart leaving that church, Adamic. 3/7 is 21. We're gonna do some arithmetic here. Hit me 21. It's over and done. All is final, and I'm holding the gun. So in those three specific endings, I was the one that basically made those things happen. I felt them coming. I felt like they were inevitable, and I felt like they had to happen. But I was an agent in that, and I had to, I had to pull the trigger on all three of those. So yeah, but 21, 2021 comes. This is the first song back. This is the first song we put out. Hit me 21. It's over and done. So here we are in 2021. All of that is over and done. Everything is resolved. Everything is final. Everything's good now. Everything's okay now. And here we are. Hit me 21. And hit me it has. Destined to fire, 19 knew. Through these ends, I'd find you. So yeah, that's that, I'm the agent of change, or I'm the agent of making these endings happen, but they had to happen. Destined to fire, 19 knew. So it was like this year 19 was waiting for me to come along and go through this hellacious experience. Through these ends, I'd find you. So, everything falling apart like it did, and, falling flat on my face. I found God in a different way, in a new way, in a way that, lasts a lifetime. And that's so important and so precious, and it's difficult, it's difficult to get to that point and not give up. But, okay. Sorry, bridge. I know it's a little disjointed. I'm trying. The bridge, holy endings looming high. So also with this song, I wanted to kind of pay tribute to the Dark Tower series and all the ways it's inspired me. So this whole bridge is my way of paying homage to that. So holy endings looming high. So I pictured myself standing in the field of roses that is surrounding the Dark Tower in the book. And the tower is looming high, right? The tower is the Dark Tower. It's really tall and dark and ominous, and holy endings looming high. So all these endings, despite their difficulty, were holy. And, there they are, waiting for me. And the next line, while I dream in the roses, is me just, I'm there in the field of roses in front of the Dark Tower. And then come like a wind, blow me away. Just kind of this surrender to all these things happening. And initially when I wrote Come Like a Wind, there's a thing in the Dark Tower series called Ka. It is basically fate. They say Ka is a wheel. Ka. And I was trying to say calm, like a wind. It didn't work out that way, but that was the intention there. So yeah, and you get back to the last chorus. I cannot defend. It's one of them things, I think we all go through tough times, and I do think there are defining moments in our lives where we can look back and say oh man, this year, this period of months, these several events all chained together were a pivotal moment in my life, and a moment where I was going one direction, and I made a distinct turn and started going a different direction. And those things just fall out of the sky sometimes is what it feels like. They just happen. Sometimes you're an agent of change in that. Sometimes it just, strikes you like lightning. But I think, I'm a person of faith. I believe in God and whatnot. I think God uses those moments to transform us. And some of those moments I would say are the worst thing that ever happened to me, but some of the best growth as a human being and as a person of faith came out of those moments. I wouldn't wish them away. I wouldn't, go back and undo them at all. because I'm so content with who I have become since those things. Just so much growth, it's like, you get forced to grow up in ways, but that's what it took, that's what it took to get me to this point. And I'm all better for it. And I'm so thankful for all those moments now. In the moment I had a very hard time seeing the upside to any of it. But that's life. Life's not all, as someone I used to know said, roses and Saturdays. It's not always this incredibly blissful experience. I was telling someone the other day, God doesn't exist to make you feel good. God doesn't just exist to make you feel good about everything all the time and just give you everything you want all the time. God has our greater good in mind at all times. He loves us unconditionally, whether we understand what he does in that love or not. So, yeah, that sounds like a voice. I'm sorry this is so long and seemingly disjointed. There's a lot of thoughts that I have not put together in one place like this before. So if you like this, I'll do it again with, the next songs. And there's a similar amount of depth to these, but I felt like, and Josiah felt like, this was our perfect comeback song. And I am so, so excited to share the rest of these songs with you. There's one coming that is my very favorite Adamic song, period, ever. It just takes the cake. I'm so stoked to play them live, too. We've got a amazing live show coming, like Adamic, like you've never seen them before. We've got somebody to play drums for us live now, Andrew, and he's freaking awesome. And I'm so glad to have met him, and I'm so glad he's part of this with us. And that means I'm free to man the mic, which is terrifying and liberating at the same time. So Adamic Live has become a 4-piece, not a 3-piece. So look forward to that when we finally get a show going and get our stuff together. So yeah, more of this soon. Thanks for watching if you made it this far.